Good afternoon, everybody. It is November 19th, and I am at the Bear Lake Recreation Area in Blackwater River State Forest here in Northwest Florida. Now this site hosts a race every year that I participate in called the Bear Bait Ultras, and there's a 25K, a 50K, a 50 miler, and a 100 miler. I usually do the 25K because, well, it's the shortest, I guess. I'd like to give you guys a little backstory into how I got into hiking. I got out of the Air Force in the summer of 1996. I believe it was June time frame. And I was talking to my father, and he's like, hey, we're going hiking with your Uncle Dennis and your cousin Jason, and we're gonna do Smoky Mountain National Park, along the Appalachian Trail. Would you like to join? And I don't know anything about backpacking or hiking at the time. I didn't even know what the Appalachian Trail was. So I'm like, yeah, sure. What's that entail? And so basically, he's like, well, we're gonna do the 75 miles or whatever it is, from Fontana Dam to Davenport Gap. And at the time, that meant nothing to me. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I asked him what kind of gear I need, because I've got nothing at this point. And he's like, yeah, you pretty much need everything. And I'm like, okay, well, what does everything mean? And anyway, I know that my brother-in-law was into backpacking and into camping and things like that. He was real big in the Boy Scouts when he was younger, and I'm pretty sure he had some gear that I could borrow. So I gave him a call, and sure enough, he pretty much hooked me up with everything: backpack, sleeping bag, sleeping pad. In the Smoky Mountain National Park, you have to sleep in the shelters, so really didn't have the need for a tent, thank goodness. But anyway, I had some MREs, and those are meals ready to eat, for those of you who don't know, and they're very heavy. So I got a bunch of Tupperwares out of my cupboard, and put all these MREs into the Tupperwares and stuffed them in this pack. This pack was a old metal framed, well, probably aluminum framed canvas pack. The thing probably weighed 7, 8, 9 pounds by itself. Had this big, thick foam sleeping pad. The sleeping bag was a mummy bag. I think that weighed 10 or 11 pounds. I mean, it was a big wool sleeping bag. So all that stuff, along with those Tupperwares that were full of MREs, and probably had 2 or 3 changes of clothes. All that together, I think my pack weighed about 65 or 70 pounds, something like that. I was wearing my military issued combat boots, which weren't the most comfortable shoes ever. And hey, we were gonna do it. So we get up to Fontana Dam, get out of the car, start hiking north. Didn't have any trekking poles, didn't know what trekking poles were really. None of us had them. And we start our first climb out of Fontana Dam. And by the time I got to Shuck Stack, which isn't very far, I was done. I was over it. I was swearing like a sailor. It was a disaster. And the whole rest of that trip, I think it took 8 or 9 days, something like that. It was absolute misery, and I swore off hiking forever. I was never gonna set foot on the Appalachian Trail again. And well, I didn't until 2014, I think, or something around that time. And again, my cousin Jason, Uncle Dennis, gave me a call. Hey, you want to give it another try? And I'm like, yeah, it's been almost 20 years. We'll give it another shot. But by this time, I bought all kinds of new stuff and got back out on the trail with them. I think that year we went from Fontana Dam heading south over to the Knock. And man, that was such a better experience, and I really enjoyed it. And so that's where it all stemmed from. And we've been doing section hikes ever since then, and really enjoy it. I even got my wife into it. She really had no interest in hiking, and I'd come back and tell her about my experiences, and she didn't seem the type to want to sleep in the woods. And so, you know, we live really close to the Florida Trail, one of the trailheads, and one day I said, hey, let's just go do a night or two out on the Florida Trail, and just to see how you like it. And sure enough, she really enjoyed herself, and she is really into hiking now too. So every time we do a section, we realize we need more gear, different things, and we just keep buying stuff up. Well guys, I am finishing up my 4-mile loop around Bear Lake. I think I'm gonna call it a day, head back to the house, make something to eat, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.